1996, we had a public event to launch our helpline, which we ran in the youth office in Bodmin. We would turn up regularly on a Monday night to sit and wait for our first calls to come through. Really, Russack started off as a rape crisis centre, but quite quickly we moved into other work. We were one of the first rape crisis centres to actually start doing work with domestic abuse. We were one of the first organisations to have an independent sexual violence advisor based in our organisation. We were the first organisation in the Southwest to have independent domestic abuse advocates.
How we are here, how we treat each other in this organisation, you know, we treat each other with care and respect, and that's what we give to the women who come here, and that could be the first time that they've actually had that. We run a helpline 5 mornings a week and 1 evening.
The helpline is run by our amazing volunteer support workers, all of whom have undertaken our accredited training course. It's a vital lifeline to women in our community.
I just made the call. It was a self-referral, it was so easy.
I was shown great empathy, compassion. I wasn't judged, and I felt that everything I spoke about was in the strictest of confidence.
I was offered to go on to do some group work, which I think is where things really changed for me.
We offer 2 different types of group work programmes. We have pattern changing, which is for women who have experienced domestic violence, and we have the power programme, which is a very new programme that we've written, which is specifically for survivors of sexual violence.
The power programme is a 14-week programme. It really takes them on a healing journey. So we start with looking at what abuse is, we look at the effects that it's had on women, we look at how they have coped. There's something about stepping into a space where you're accepted, it's safe, and you're able to explore the issues around sexual abuse. We look at shame and blame, we look at guilt, we look at anger and with skills to get rid of that anger in a healthier way. So we might look at writing on eggs, words or feelings, and then throwing that egg either at a wall or a tree. We might say about going down to a stream or the beach and writing on pebbles and throwing those into the ocean as a way of letting go. Writing is really beneficial. It's not for women to be able to confront their abuser or to disclose to their family members necessarily. They may not be able to do that. So what we do encourage women to do is to write those letters, and not to send them or anything, but to still give a voice to that space, to those specific people that have maybe hurt them.
One of the biggest things that I've seen really make a difference to women's lives is the body work that we provide.
We really know and understand that trauma has an impact on the body as well as the mind and the emotions. So if you've experienced abuse as a child, one of your coping strategies may be to become very, very disconnected from your body, to maybe just live in your head. The bodywork therapies that we offer are just remarkable in how they help women to reconnect.
Being out walking with other women is just sometimes all I need. It feels like I'm part of something. It's made me bond with other women, and that's what I couldn't do before, just enjoying being around people. And now I'm starting to like myself again and just enjoy life. If I'm feeling really low and another woman puts their arm around me, I know that she understands how I'm feeling that day.
In those walking groups, women are supporting other women, which helps them gain confidence, plus they're making friendships. So it's really about expanding their world.
Art it's a revelation, it can be a self-revelation, it speaks to you, it's like an inner dialogue. And I think that's why it's so powerful and so healing, and it's very, very ancient, it's pre-verbal. And King Lear, I think there's a point where he says, the worst can't be said. You know, the very worst is beyond words. And I think that's very true. And I think even when women do utter what has happened to them, I think there's other aspects of their own healing or their own journey that they've got to work out on paper maybe, or on a soul level. I think a lot of the work, certainly the body work, is, I would almost describe it as soul healing, because it's your soul that's been really, really damaged.
putting something together creatively to express how they're feeling or what maybe happened around their trauma with the abuse. It sort of builds up their practical confidence, not just, how they feel about themselves as people. The greatest joys of doing this work and seeing what that young person starts to see about themselves that before they couldn't.
We reach the women who most other agencies don't reach.
Women involved in the criminal justice system and women whose partners have been sentenced to a domestic violence rehabilitation programme.
Who maybe are not able to access other domestic violence or sexual violence agencies because they've got an offence, sometimes a violent offence. Sometimes these women will have been convicted of an offence against a man who's perpetrated violence against them.
I'm happy that I have got that one person I can turn to. Somebody just putting it plain and simple, step by step, what I need to do.
We now work across Dorset, Devon and Cornwall and continue to be passionate about supporting women who are involved in the criminal justice system and moving them away from those offending behaviours that have so devastated their lives.
The project itself is designed for women who have offended or women who might be at risk of offending. It's an accredited course, so they gain a level 2 in mentoring. Just to have somebody perhaps who have experienced some of that journey themselves and have come out the other end can be really empowering. The women who are training maybe have not up until this point felt that they have achieved much.
I really didn't believe in myself at first, didn't know if I was going to complete it.
When they start to when they complete, in terms of their confidence, just speaks for itself. It's absolutely incredible, and I feel really privileged to be part of that journey with them.
So if you imagine that you're connected with 7, 8, 9 different services and you're having to go to each one of those and tell your story again and again and again, it's quite harrowing. What the people who visit us tell us they value most is an opportunity to come in, walk through the door as who they are, not carrying a label, not carrying a stigma. They are in control of their recovery journey. We are simply the team that supports them to achieve their goals in that way. CoLab is a cross-sector and multi-agency co-working space where organisations can work together collaboratively to address some of those needs.
CoLab's a non-traditional learning environment. We are very intentional about the space and making it so that it's accessible to all. So people who've had perhaps a difficult experience of learning and education can come into our space and feel differently about learning. So within the context of CoLab and what we do, it's about moving people forward at their pace, and that may be very small changes that perhaps you and I wouldn't see necessarily, but in the individual, being able to turn up one day when their anxiety levels are really high, being able to step into that environment is a huge change for them.
So I think a lot of the people that we work with tend to be very reluctant to try and access learning because of bad school experiences. They will often say they don't like to be in groups. And so what we've seen through some of the learning activities that we've done is people's self-esteem growing.
I was in a really abusive relationship and was caught in a cycle of addiction, which was alcohol and drugs. My mental health was horrendous. I went into the Resilient Ladies group with a really closed mind. I didn't want to engage, I didn't want help, I didn't trust anybody. And then I was just so broken. I didn't want to keep myself safe anymore. I just wanted help. Looking at people as individuals is something that they do really, really well. And I wasn't just a name with a little write-up. I walked in there and I shared as much as I wanted to. It's not been somebody dictating to me, telling me where I have to be, what I have to do. It's been information. I feel like a person again. I feel like I can contribute to society. I know I'm a good person, and I lost that for a long time. So I feel that there's no reason I can't move forward. There's no reason for things ever to go back to what they were. And now that I have got a really robust support package, I know that if I fall, someone will just pick me up and help me move forward. So yeah, I feel really, really positive about my future, and I feel that I can do some meaningful things and progress and grow and enjoy my life.